WRANV. If you've used the Rion VM-56, you'll know what a powerful and easy-to-use vibration meter it is. However, it's important to understand when and how vibration weightings are being applied to your measurements. The VM-56 allows for both band limiting and WB, WD and WM frequency filters to be applied in accordance with ISO 8041. For velocity, band limiting can be applied with a choice of upper and lower limits, which will depend on your application. In the next few slides, we're going to be using the MMF VC21 field calibrator to show you how important it can be to get your frequency weightings right. However, for whole body vibration, the VM-56 should usually only be calibrated at 15.9 Hz at 1 meter per second squared. Let's do this now. The VC21 is set to generate 1 meter per second squared at 15.9 Hz. At first glance, the VM-56 isn't measuring what it's supposed to be in the 16 Hz band, but this is because the frequency weightings are still applied to the 1/3 octave bands. To remove this, enter the main menu. Navigate to the measure menu, and then enter the band weighting menu. You can now switch to non-weighting. Now, on recalibration, you get the expected result: 1 meter per second squared in the 16 Hz band. But beware, the VM-56 applies band limiting separately in addition to the full frequency weighting. This is important to know if you're looking to measure acceleration above about 50 Hz. If we change the calibration frequency on the VC21 to 159.2 Hz, you can see on the VM-56 display that we're measuring a very low reading again. Let's quickly switch off the frequency weighting as we did before. But now we're on non-weighting, we're still not reading the expected 1 meter per second squared. ISO 8041 is the standard that specifies the instrumentation for general purpose vibration measurement. It contains specifications for the frequency weightings. However, it is actually made up of several components, including a band limiting filter. So, when the band weighting is set to weighting, the full WB, WD or WM weighting is applied. When non-weighting is set, the band limiting remains. And when set to user weighting, and the user weighting is set to 0, the frequency characteristics are dictated by the sensor. So why is this important? Well, if you're looking to predict re-radiated noise from measurements of ground-borne vibration, you don't want the whole body frequency weightings and band limiting applied to your 3rd octave band measurements. So let's try turning the frequency weighting to user weighting to see what we get. And there you go. The excitation is faithfully measured by the instrument. Just what we expected, 1 meter per second squared at 159.2 Hz. On the standard broadband VM-56, the band limiting can be controlled once non-weighting has been activated on at least one of the 3 axes. When the VX56RT option for 1/3 octave analysis is installed, the band limiting in the frequency data is controlled by setting them to user weighting and making sure that the user weightings are set to 0. Here's the full measure menu for the VM-56 with 1/3 octaves installed. The top item controls the band weighting. If set to user weighting, You'll get an extra menu item where you can change the weighting in each band. The time weighting option for the exponential averaging. The next three are the frequency weightings for the overall all-pass values. If any of these frequency weightings are set to non-weighting, this menu appears with the options for controlling the band limiting. Then we have the band limiting for building damage-related criteria like PPV and displacement. The band limiting for human exposure parameters like KBFT. These are the settings for general measurements. Many of them get fixed and are greyed out if this is switched to SBR, a Dutch standard. Remember, the VM-56 allows you to set the weighting separately for the overall level, and if you have the VX56RT option, the frequency band data. If you need more help setting up your Rion VM-56, get in touch with ANV today.